Have you walked into a beer store recently and found yourself staring at hundreds of choices, wondering where craft beer is actually heading? Maybe you've noticed brewery closures making headlines. Maybe you've noticed more breweries making a non alcoholic beer. Or maybe you've walked into a brewery and seen cocktails, hard seltzers, THC beverages, coffee, food menus, and wondered, wait a minute, what happened to beer? So today I want to ask a question that many beer drinkers and brewery owners have been discussing lately. Has craft beer lost its way? Or are we simply watching the next chapter of craft beer unfold? Let's dive into it. When many of us first got into craft beer, it felt like a revolution. Breweries were popping up everywhere. New beer styles seemed to appear every month. IPA innovation was exploding. Beer festivals were packed. Consumers were searching for the next great brewery. The mission was simple: make better beer, support local, challenge the big beer companies. For many people, that mission was exciting. Craft beer wasn't just a beverage, it became a community. And honestly, that's a big reason why many of us are still here today. But if we fast forward to today, the industry looks very different. According to the Brewers Association, overall US beer production and imports declined by 5.7% in 2025, while craft beer brewer volume sales declined by 4%. Craft still maintained about 13.3% market share, but volume continues to trend downward. The Brewers Association also reported that 2025 saw approximately 300 brewery openings, but 481 closures nationally, meaning more breweries closed and opened for another consecutive year. Think about that for a moment. For years, craft beer was all about growth. Today, survival and adaptation are becoming the bigger conversation. The challenges are coming from multiple directions. Brewers Association economists point to changing consumer behaviors, inflation, tariffs, rising costs, retailer consolidation, and increased competition across beverage categories. Consumers have more choices than ever, not just beer, everything: hard seltzers, ready to drink cocktails, spirits, THC beverages, energy drinks, functional beverages, non alcoholic options. The beer aisle isn't just competing against beer anymore, it's competing against an entire beverage universe. One of the biggest changes we've seen is the rise of non alcoholic beer. And this is where some people start asking whether craft beer is drifting away from its roots. But the numbers are hard to ignore. Recent consumer research found that 61% of Gen Z and millennial consumers would choose a non alcoholic version of their favorite beer, while 57% said they would stay longer at bars and restaurants offering strong NA selections. The Brewers Association notes that craft breweries are becoming a major force within the NA category, accounting for roughly 31% of NA sales volume and 36% of NA dollar sales in 2025. So is that abandoning craft beer, or is it simply giving consumers another way to enjoy great brewing? That's a question worth discussing. Another criticism often heard: craft beer has become too complicated. At one point, breweries focused primarily on making great beer. Today, many breweries operate like entertainment venues: food programs, live music, trivia nights, coffee, cocktails, event spaces. Some traditionalists argue this isn't what craft beer was supposed to be, but others would say breweries are simply doing what they've always done: building community. In fact, brew pubs have generally weathered industry declines better than beer only operations, suggesting that creating experiences and gathering spaces matters more than ever. My answer: no. I don't think craft beer has lost its way. I think craft beer is maturing. For years, the industry operated in expansion mode. Now it's operating in an adaptation or mature type mode. The breweries succeeding today aren't always the ones making the most extreme beers. They're often the ones building communities, creating experiences, understanding their customers, and finding ways to stay relevant. Even amid the challenges, some breweries continue to thrive by focusing on local engagement events and becoming community gathering spaces rather than simply producing beer. The mission may look different than it did 10 years ago, but at its core, craft beer is still about bringing people together. But I want to hear from you. Do you think craft beer has lost its way? Or is just simply the next evolution of the industry? What do you miss most about craft beer from 10 years ago? And what do you think breweries need to do to stay successful moving forward? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this discussion, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, get your beer on.